This is the video for Cambridge IELTS 9 Reading Test 1, which is the first academic test. So this is for academic IELTS students. So let's go to question 1. This whole section is true, false, or not given. So according to our according to this chart as I've given you, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, the answers are usually in order. Okay, so you'll see that. All right, number 1, Michael Faraday was the first person to recognize Perkins' ability as a student of chemistry. All right, so let's go to his talent and devotion to the subject were perceived by his teacher Thomas Hall, who encouraged him to attend a series of lectures given by the eminent scientist Michael Faraday at the Royal Institution. Right, so the question is, Michael Faraday was the first person to recognize Perkins' ability as a student of chemistry. Now, this is false because Michael Faraday was not the person who recognized, okay, Perkins' ability. All right, Michael Faraday was the person who, basically Thomas Hall, his talent and devotion to were perceived by his teacher. So Thomas Hall recognized that, then encouraged him to attend lectures by Michael Faraday. Right, so that's false. The first person was not Michael Faraday, but probably Thomas Hall. 2, Michael Faraday suggested that Perkins should enroll in the Royal College of Chemistry. Right, the Royal College of Chemistry is here. So those speeches fired another chemist's enthusiasm further, and he later went on to attend Perkins later went on to attend Royal College of Chemistry. Now, the question is, Michael Faraday suggested that Perkins do this. Now, what happened here? Those speeches by Michael Faraday fired the young chemist enthusiasm further, and he later... Now, does it say that Michael Faraday suggested that Perkins should do this? No. It just says that the speeches fired the enthusiasm. Okay, now, and then he said, and he later went on. Now, it did not say the speech made the speeches made Perkins attend. It just says he later went on. Now, who made or who inspired Perkins to attend this Royal College of Chemistry? Now, we don't really know. Could it be that Michael Faraday suggested to Perkins that he should go and enroll? It's possible. It's possible that something else or someone else suggested. Okay, the fact that it is not clear that Michael Faraday suggested that Perkins should enroll in the Royal College of Chemistry, yet the opposite is not clear too. That means the passage didn't say someone else suggested that Perkins do so. Therefore, it is possible that Michael Faraday was the one. It is possible that someone else. It is possible that, you know, a lot of things are possible. It's not mentioned in the text. So that is the reason why the answer to this would be not given. Let me just put this notepad. All right, so I'll use the notepad to put the answer. So the thing is, when is the answer not given? When the text doesn't tell you. That means the statement is possible. It could be true, it could be false, but we don't know. Now, it is false when there's something in the passage which totally contradicts. It is not possible that it is true. It is not possible that it's false. It's just 100% false. Okay, so here the answer is not given because it is possible that Michael Faraday suggested that Perkins attend this college. Okay, it is possible. We don't know. It doesn't say here. It doesn't say someone else. if it says that if it's, well, even if someone else suggested Perkins should enroll, doesn't mean that Michael Faraday did not suggest, right? So there's a lot of things which the passage did not tell you, and so it is not given. The passage did not say something that contradicted this statement, therefore you can't say it's false. Only when the passage says something that contradicts this statement, then you can say it's clearly false. But the passage doesn't say much. Okay, so this is still possible, but you can't say it's true or false. It is just not given. Okay, so note the difference between false and not given. 3. Perkin employed August Wilhelm Hoffman as his assistant. All right. So let's go to August. Okay. So at the time of Perkins' enrollment, the Royal College was headed by the noted German chemist. Now, what is the question? Perkin employed. At the time of Perkins. Now, it is totally impossible. Perkin enrolled in a college and the college was headed by this person. Is it possible that Perkin employed Hoffman? No. I mean, this guy is the head of the college, so it is totally impossible that Perkin is just a student. All right, so that has to be a clear false. Next question. Perkin was still young when he made the discovery that made him rich and famous. Perkin was still young when he made the discovery that made him rich or famous. So let's go down here. Perkin, not long after, okay, Perkin's scientific gifts soon caught Hoffman's attention, and within 2 years he became Hoffman's youngest assistant. Okay, so he's very young still. Of course, he just enrolled at the age of 15. Okay, he went to this college. 2 years later, he became Hoffman's assistant. So again, basically, this question, the one before, who's the assistant? August Wilhelm Hoffman was not Perkins' assistant, but Perkin was August Wilhelm Hoffman's assistant. Okay, that's why this is again false. Now, not long after Perkin, so he's still pretty young, Perkin made the scientific breakthrough that would bring him both fame and fortune. All right, so Perkin was still young when he made the discovery that made him. Okay, yeah, was he still young? Not long after, he was in college at 15. 2 years he was. After 2 years later, he was the assistant. Then after that, he made a scientific breakthrough. So this is true. Okay, it was still pretty young. All right. Number 5, the trees from which quinine is derived grow only in South America. The trees from which quinine is derived grow only in South America. Now, talks a bit here about quinine was the only viable medical treatment for malaria. The drug is derived from the bark of the cinchona tree native to South America. Okay, so quinine, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, okay, was the only viable medical treatment. This drug, quinine, is derived from the bark of this tree. So quinine comes from the bark of this tree, which is native to South America. Now, the trees from which quinine is derived grow only now. Only. Native means it's from. Okay, it's native to South America means it's from there. Now, but does it mean it grows only there? Of course it grows there, but could it grow elsewhere? It's possible, right? And it is possible that it only grows in South America. So it's possible that it grows in South America only, and it's possible that it grows elsewhere. So this sentence is not true or false. This sentence basically is not given, right? Because unless it says here quinine is grown in Australia, quinine is grown in America, okay, then this sentence is false because quinine doesn't only grow in South America. Alright, so here it is another example of not given because it could go both ways. It could be true, it could be false, but the passage does not clearly state either one of them. Okay. Now, 6. Perkin hoped to manufacture a drug from a coal tar waste product. Perkin hoped to manufacture a drug from a coal tar waste product. Number 6. Let's go to this sentence. He was attempting to manufacture quinine from aniline, an inexpensive and readily available coal tar waste product. So the question, the sentence hoped to manufacture a drug from, so a drug from a coal tar waste product. He was attempting to manufacture quinine from aniline, an inexpensive and readily. So he wanted to manufacture this drug, which is a drug, okay? It's a medical treatment, a drug, from coal tar waste product, okay? Yeah, that is true. And 7. Perkin was inspired by the discoveries of the famous scientist Louis Pasteur. Now, where does Louis Pasteur come in here? Right, comes in here. And proving the truth of the famous scientist Louis Pasteur's words, chance favors only the prepared mind. Perkin saw the potential of his unexpected find. Perkin was inspired by the discoveries of famous scientist Louis Pasteur. Now, he was inspired by the discoveries. Proving the truth. Was he inspired by the discoveries? Okay. It doesn't say here. It says proving the truth, chance favors. It proves the truth. It doesn't mean that he was inspired by these words, but his situation proved the truth. Okay. So this is not true. This is not false. It is not given. Was he inspired by the discoveries? Yeah, possible. We don't know. All right. Was he? Maybe he wasn't. Yeah, it's possible. We do not know, and therefore it is not given. Okay. Carry on to the next part. Choose no more than 2 words. Remember to read the instructions. Before Perkins, this is a short answer question, so it should still be in order. Now, if you realize where we got all the answers from for question 1 to 7, it's all in order. Okay, and then we come to another question type, short answer, which also should be in order. Okay, so before Perkins' discovery, with what group in society was the color purple associated? So before the discovery. Okay. Indeed, the purple color extracted from a snail was once so costly that in society at the time only the rich could afford it. All right. So at one time, what group? The rich. Okay. The rich could afford purple. Next question. What potential did Perkin immediately understand that his new dye had? What potential? But perhaps the most fascinating of all Perkin's reactions to his find was his nearly instant recognition that the new dye had commercial possibilities. Right? So the answer, what potential? It had commercial, and the answer is commercial potential, or you could put just the answer commercial possibilities. Potential means same as possibilities, okay? Or you could just put commercial. What was the name finally used to refer to the first color Perkin invented? What was the name finally used to discover? What was the name finally used to refer to the first color Perkin invented? Okay. Perkin originally named his dye Tyrian purple, but it later, okay, the keyword here is finally used, not in the beginning. not initially, originally it was this name, but became commonly known as MAUVE. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay, so you have to understand originally is in the beginning, in the first place, and then later became known as is the name, okay, as MAUVE. All right. In what country did Perkins' newly invented color first become fashionable? Okay. So in what country? Okay, if you go down, remember we are talking about short answer question, and the answers are in order. All right. Sorry, I actually missed it. I think I missed 9, 10, what was the name? What was the name? What was the name of the person Perkins consulted before setting up his own dye works? Okay, what was the name of the person? Okay, he asked the advice, consulted. Okay, advice of what dye works owner who assured him blah 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 blah. Alright, so who did he ask advice of? He asked of Robert Poulard. Okay. 12. In what country did Perkins' newly invented color first become fashionable? Okay, which country? The company received a commercial boost from the Empress Eugenie of France when she decided the new color flattered her. Very soon, mauve was necessary shade for all the fashionable ladies in that country. Which country is it? France. Last question. According to the passage, which disease is now being targeted by researchers using synthetic dyes? Which disease is now targeted by the researchers using synthetic dyes? Okay, all the way to the bottom. And what would their current use? Okay, you see, according which is now presently. Current use is in the search for a vaccine against malaria. Which disease is now being targeted? So, answer is malaria. Okay, so as you can see through, go through the all questions 1 to 13, and there are two sections, two types of questions, and you see that all of them are in order. Okay, so that's why I emphasize so much during my lessons that you need to know which ones are in order, because it helps you a lot. You see, as I just go down all the way. Unlike headings, information, matching features, all that, it may not be in order. Okay. Cambridge IELTS 9, Test 1, Academic, Passage 2. Okay. So this first type of question is going to be list of headings. This is the slightly more difficult one. Okay, definitely not in order. So let's go to passage 2. Okay, so straight away you know that paragraph A is 5, so you can just pretty much cancel that. You're not going to use that again. Okay. Right. Now, paragraph B. Paragraph B, the answer is 4. Right? Assumptions underlying the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So paragraph B, assumptions. Okay. In discussing whether we are alone, most SETI scientists adopt 2 ground rules. Now, ground rules are assumptions. Ground rules are kind of things that we all accept. Okay, so these are assumptions. Okay, so then it talks about the first and second. So the whole of paragraph B is about the assumptions, the things that we all accept. Okay, we don't debate, we agree upon. Paragraph C, the answer is 7. Okay, which is likelihood of life on other planets. Likelihood of life on other planets. even when we make these assumptions, our understanding, assumptions which you just mentioned in paragraph B, our understanding of other life forms is still severely limited. We do not even know, for example, how many stars have planets, and we certainly do not know how likely it is that life will arise naturally. Okay. However, we look at blah, blah, blah. Now it talks about how likely it is that likelihood of life on other planets, right? But this is just one sentence. There's a whole paragraph talk about it. It seems inconceivable that at least one of these planets does not. Okay, so it's still talking about life. In fact, the best educated guess, blah blah blah. Perhaps 1 in 100,000 have life. See, all this is talking about life, right? So that's the reason why it's not just one. It's not just careful, because sometimes they want to trick you. You find this sentence or this idea in one of the paragraphs, but the whole paragraph is not about that. Remember, this is headings. This is not finding information. This is a list of headings. So the whole paragraph has to be likelihood of life on other planets. So you do see that here. Okay, it's talking about the likelihood of life on other planets. Okay, next 16, paragraph D, and the answer is 1. 1 is seeking the transmission of radio signals from planets. Seeking the transmission of radio signals from planets. All right. D. Here you talk about, okay, it's talking about could choose many ways of sending information across the galaxy, but many of these either require too much energy. Okay, so far there have been a number of searches by various groups. Sorry, let's go to here. And so all the searches today have concentrated on looking for radio waves in this frequency range. So far there have been a number of searches by various groups. So the whole paragraph is basically seeking the transmission of radio signals. So they're looking for the transmission of radio signals. Okay, that's radio signals. Okay. 17. Paragraph E. Paragraph E, the answer is going to be 2. Appropriate responses to signals from other. So appropriate responses. That means if you find signals from other civilizations, how do you respond appropriately? Okay, every word's important. So it's appropriate. You're talking about the response. Paragraph E. Okay, so there is considerable debate over how we should react. What is the appropriate way of reacting if we detect a signal from. Okay, so the whole thing is basically about how we should react. Okay, the response, react, response, synonyms. Okay, reaction, responses. Okay, so that is the answer. And let's go to 18. Right, this is a short answer question. What is the life expectancy of Earth? What is the life expectancy of Earth? Now, short answer questions. All right. There are only 3 here. Right. So, I mean, it's meant to be in order, but I don't think it's in order here. Okay. Let me just have a look very quickly. I don't think it's in. I mean, it's only 3, so yeah, it could be in order. It may not be in order, but let me just show you. I don't think it's in order now. So, what is the life expectancy of Earth? If you go here, since the lifetime of a planet like ours is several billion years, all right, so the life expectancy is, okay, what kind of, no more than 3 words, so that's fine. Several billion years. What kind of signals from other intelligent civilizations are SETI scientists searching for? What kind of signals? Okay. So here, so you see that this is actually not in order. As we search for radio signals. So what kind of signals? Radio. Now you could put the answers waves, signals, and these are all optional. You could just put radio. Okay. 20. How many stars are the world's most powerful radio telescopes searching? How many stars are they searching? Okay. And the answer would be in paragraph D. The part of the project is searching the nearest 1,000 likely stars. Okay, so they are searching 1,000, and the optional word here is your answer could be 1,000 or 1,000 stars. All right. 21. So we come to 21, which is yes, no, not given. So according to what I mentioned, yes, no, not given, and we've done a few of them already. It should be in order. Okay, 21 to 26, right? It should be in order, but again, sometimes it is not 100% in order. But in this case, let me have a look. I believe it's in order. Okay, so let's go to 21. Alien civilizations may be able to help the human race to overcome serious problems. The answer here is yes. Okay, and where is that found? In paragraph A. It is even possible that the oldest civilization may pass, what's the question? Alien civilizations. Okay. Where are we? It is even possible that older civilization may pass on benefits of their experience in dealing with threats to survival, such as nuclear war and global pollution and other threats that we haven't yet discovered. So, alien civilizations may be able to help. So that's why it says it is even possible. It's not 100%. Help the human race to overcome serious problems. So yes, that is true. 22. SETI scientists are trying to find a life form that resembles humans in many ways. Second, we made a very conservative assumption that we are looking for a life form that is pretty well like us. Since if it differs radically from us, we may not be able to recognize. Okay, so SETI scientists are trying to find a life form that resembles. That means it looks the same. So a life form that is pretty well like us. So it's talking about the same. All right. So yes, no, not given. Yes. 23. The Americans and Australians have cooperated on joint research projects. Now, I don't think that it's ever mentioned here. All right, if it's not mentioned here, that they've, it talks about, okay, let's go to D. The question is, Americans have cooperated on joint research. So where is Australia? Where are the Australians? Okay, here. New South Wales is in Australia, where Sydney is. So far, there have been a number of searches by various groups around the world, including using the what. Until now, so it talks about how there is a research project there, but does it say that they have cooperated on joint research projects? No, it doesn't say that. Could be true, it may not be true. If so, it doesn't say, then it's not given. Okay, so it doesn't deny it. It doesn't deny that fact, so it's possible. So it's just not given. 24. So far, SETI scientists have picked up radio signals from several stars. Go to paragraph D. So far, there have been a number of searches by various groups. What's that? That is so far. Wait. Okay. Yes. Until now, there have not been any detections from the few hundred stars which have been searched. Right. So the question so far have picked up radio signals. Basically says no, they have not. There have not been any detections. So the answer is clearly false. Okay, or rather no. Okay, don't make the mistake of putting no or false or mixing them up. Right? Not that the examiner or the person marking your script's gonna, give you wrong for that, but just don't do it. Number 25, the NASA project attracted criticism from some members of Congress. Now, does it actually say there? Talks about Congress in D. Congress. Okay, now does it mention that the project attracted criticism? No, it doesn't. Right? So it's not given there. It could be, possibly, but it's not mentioned. Okay. If a signal from outer space is received, it will be important to respond promptly. If a signal from outer space is received. Okay. The stars being searched are hundreds of light years away, so it takes hundreds of years for the signal to reach us and a further few hundred years for our reply to reach them. It's not important then if there's a delay of a few years or decades while the human race debates the question of whether to reply and perhaps carefully drafts a reply. So if a signal from outer space is received, it will be important to respond promptly. Is it important to respond promptly? No, it is not important. It says here, it is not important if there's a delay. Okay, so you don't have to respond promptly. No. So again, you see the order. All these, well, the second part, right? From at least from 21 to 26, there is an order. Okay, going from the beginning of the passage to the end, right? Cambridge IELTS 9, Test 1 for academic test 1 and passage 3 from question 27 onwards. Okay, so passage 3 and right, 27. What had to transfer from sea to land before any animals could migrate? Right, so what kind of question is this? First 2 words. This is short answer. So again, it is possible that this is in order. 27, 28, 29, 30, and it is in order. Okay, so what had to transfer from sea to land before any animals could migrate? 27. Plants without whose prior invasion of the land none of the other migrations could have happened. So what had to be the first one to migrate? Plants. Okay, plants had to migrate first before other migrations or other animals could migrate. Okay, before animals could migrate. Right. 28. Which two processes are mentioned as those in which animals had to make big changes as they moved onto land? Which two processes? So from animals had to make big changes as they move from sea to land in which two processes? 28. Moving from water to land involved a major redesign of every aspect of life, including breathing, reproduction. Okay, so that's the answer. The two processes of breathing, reproduction. 29. Which physical feature possessed by their ancestors do whales lack? Which physical features possessed by their ancestors, those that came before them, do whales lack? Okay, they do. We're talking about whales. Okay. They do, however, still breathe air, having never developed anything equivalent to the gills of their earlier marine incarnation. So earlier marine incarnation here is referring to the ancestors. So they have never developed anything equivalent to the gills. Okay, so the answer is gills. Which animals might ichthyosaurs have resembled? Which animals? This is mentioned here. Were reptilian the fossils look like? The question is which animals might what have resembled? So the fossils of these guys look like dolphins. Look like, resemble. Okay. Synonyms. Now. Okay. So as you can see, the answers to 27, 28, 29, 30 are in order. We go to the next one. True, false, not given. You have 31, 32, and 33. Okay. By right, you should see this in order. So let's see if it's so. 31. Turtles were among the first group of animals to migrate back to the sea. Okay. Does it say anything about turtles? I don't think it says anything about turtles. So if that is so, then okay, that says something here about turtles. Okay, so which appear to be close to the. Okay, so let's say something about turtles here. Now, does it say anything about the fact that they were the first group, among the first group of animals to migrate back to the sea? Nope, I don't see anything there. So it is not given. All right. 32. It is always difficult to determine where an animal lived when its fossilized remains are incomplete. It is always difficult. This is the key word. Always difficult to determine where an animal lived when its fossilized remains are incomplete. So if the remains that you found are incomplete, it will always be difficult to determine where an animal lived. Okay. Now, you might wonder how we can tell whether fossil animals lived on land or in water, especially if only fragments are found. So which means it's not complete. You found a bit of fossils. It's not complete, only fragments. Fragments means it's not complete. So you might wonder how we can tell whether they lived on land or water. Correct? So this is relating to this question. It is always difficult to determine where an animal lived if it's when its fossilized remains are incomplete. So is that true or false or not given? It's always difficult to determine. Now, the next sentence. Sometimes it's obvious. Now, so it's saying that sometimes, even if fragments are only found, the fossilized remains are incomplete, it's obvious. It's obvious whether they live here or whether they live there. Okay? So the fact that say sometimes it's obvious means sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Is it always difficult? Is it always difficult to determine? No. It says sometimes it's obvious. So it's not always difficult. So that is false. Okay. So they're basically, the keyword is always, and the keyword here is sometimes. Okay, you have to get that. If not, you'll get the wrong answer. The habitat of ichthyosaurs can be determined by the appearance of their fossilized remains. The habitat of this can be determined by the appearance of their fossilized remains. one way to tell with the fossilized look, and they surely lived like dolphins in the water. So habitat means where they live, okay? Appearance of, they surely live. One way to tell is by measuring the bones of their forelimbs. Now, so the question is, the habitat can be determined by the appearance of their fossilized remains. One way to tell is by measuring the bones, the appearance, okay? All right, so the appearance of their fossils, the bones, okay? So the answer is yes, that's true. Okay, going, and this is actually in order, okay? The true, false not given in order. Okay, lastly we come to, or second lastly, we come to this. This is a flow chart. This may or may not be in order, right? But it's pretty much taken from one section, right? So a total 71 species of living turtles and tortoises were examined, and a total of what were taken from the bones of the forelimbs? A total of, where's the 71? 71, and a total of 71 species, and a total of what were taken from the bones? 3 measurements. Okay. Measurements were taken. Total 3 measurements were taken from the bones of their forelimbs. The data was recorded on a what? And it was, this is for question number 35. It was recorded on, use a kind of triangular graph paper. Now let's have a look at the question. How many words? No more than 2 words. Okay, no more than 2 words. So you can't write triangular you can't write triangular graph paper. The answer would be triangular graph. Okay, and the triangular is optional. Let's go back to the question. The data was recorded on a graph. Okay, it's recorded on a graph, so you can compare, necessary for comparing. If you say recorded on a paper, paper is not, doesn't help you to compare. It's talking about a graph. Okay. Land tortoises were represented by a dense, the word here is, the answer is cluster. Let's see where that is. Remember, it's all going to be around the same area. Land tortoises represent a dense what of points towards the top. A dense and tight. Okay, dense and tight means pretty much the same. Cluster of points. Okay, it's a lot of them around there. Oops, cluster, it's already written. Okay, so 36 cluster. The same data was collected from some living what species and added? Sure enough, these what species? Amphibious species. The same data was collected from some living amphibious species. The points for these species turn out to be positioned about what up position. Where's the position? This is a graph, okay? Especially for those academic IELTS taker, your task 1, you would be doing a graph. So this is basically what they're talking about. Cluster of points, sure these amphibious species show up on a triangular graph approximately halfway between the wet cluster of sea turtles and a dry cluster. So halfway between, about halfway up the triangle between. Okay. Halfway. 39 outcome. The position of the points indicated that both these ancient creatures were both these fossils were dry land tortoises. Okay, now the number of words you can use, as mentioned, is no more than 2 words and a number. So dry land, because of the dash, is considered 1 word. Okay, so just remember that. And the last question is multiple choice. According to the writer, the most significant thing about tortoises is, it's going to be D. They have made the transition from sea to land more than once. Why does it say that? Okay, tortoises therefore represents a remarkable double return. All right, so double return because they return. They made the transition from sea to land more than once. Okay, so that is D. Okay, if you look at where the answers are for question, the flowchart, question 34 to 39, you will see that it's all around here. Okay, this whole paragraph here. Okay, so it's all at one particular location.